An album a day is my exploration into the Korean music scene. This podcast will cover mainstream, indie, and some underground artists within the scene and provide both factual and opinionated commentary. The biggest benefit to sharing my thoughts this way is that it will hopefully expose you to more great music and exploration of your own.
You're tuned into an album a day. Show start.
Well, good morning, listeners. This most certainly, I've already said before in past episodes that I was a little interested in how this particular group fell by the wayside when I was gathering information about which idol groups I was going to talk about. And now that I've gotten into the very interesting, perhaps very dirty back history of them, I see exactly why it happened, because this group would have happened before I did 15 and I believe we covered 15 and back in May. Yeah, their episode was May 27th. So it's interesting. Let me give you a little bit of history. 14U Wan Po Yu was a South Korean boy band, and it was formed by BG Entertainment. BG Entertainment is out of Incheon. So if you've heard of Incheon before, usually it's because you've heard of that being where the international airport is. Excuse me. And I'm just recovering from being a little sick after the Super M Dallas stop. That was the first one in the tour, as you all may have heard. Shout out to those of you who took the time to listen to that special episode. It's special episode number 4 within the show. And it was redonkulously cold that night. So a lot of us left with a cold or, in really, really bad circumstances, the flu. I ended up with a lower respiratory infection. Sexy. So, Incheon, you might see the photos of the idols going to and or from the airport, and that is usually where it takes place for them to take their international flights. BG Entertainment, still, interestingly enough, has the entire group on the top of the website. I've no idea why. Why would you do that? Why would you do that when they've disbanded? Why don't you take the YG Entertainment approach and just wipe them from the face of the internet? Because they're not coming back, and I'm going to get into why they're not coming back in just a second. The group, excuse me, they debuted July 22nd, 2017. So they had some time where I should have heard of them. But they disbanded May 10th, 2019. I was in Korea this entire time. I knew nothing of them. They had a single album. They did 3 singles, but they had a single album. The single album was called VVV for Very, Very, Very. And at the time, a lot of my students were big on saying very, very blueberry, very, very strawberry. And ironically, like, the album cover has a blueberry on it and a strawberry. So it's interesting what happened here. This was a 14-member boy band. 14 freaking members. So, we have 17. That's a large group. EXO, Super Junior, historically large groups, even with members departing. And then, of course, NCT, look at all them chickens. It makes no sense that is as many of them as it is. And it's still growing. There's other units that are coming. But the 14 members, they were divided into 2 subunits, Explosive and Lucky, and 14U had a leader, and then the Explosive line had a leader, and the Lucky had a leader. But when it came to a time of dealing with something that, as a Westerner, doesn't come off as a scandal at all to me, I can see how it could be a problem, but not a salacious scandal. 13 of the 14 members were like, nah, we good. So the company issued a statement saying that they had disbanded. The gentleman had decided that it wasn't going to be advantageous for them to be a group. But what floated around what floated around the internets is that they disbanded because one of the older members was involved in a relationship with one of the company employees. So yes, okay, I know you can't go touching the merchandise and whatnot. I understand that. But enough for it to be the entire group departing? See, BG Entertainment only had 14U. And if 13 of your 14 only roster is not coming back, there's more to the story than that. You're not going to have that many people aim for uprising of departure based upon one member dating somebody. You would just tell that one member to go. We've seen it multiple times before, what can happen when an idol decides to be in a relationship. It's quite pathetic. Outside looking in, even when I was living over there, a lot of my students had similar opinions to those of my own and those of other foreign fans. We don't see an issue with it. But there's no way everything would have shut down just because of this one member, unless it was the leader, because they said simply, and I'm going to stop saying they, I'm going to tell you where I'm getting this information from. Excuse me. There's a news agency called Export. So not export as in EXPORT, but X as the letter ports news. And it's spelled Exports News. So May 13th of 2019, there was an article released that said that 14U disbanded because of inappropriate sexual relationship with a female agency staff member. I'm quoting this translation from KPopMap.com. So we have the rookie idol group made up of members Isol, Luha, Gohyun, BS. Why the heck did they get that boy that name BS? It's supposed to be for Be Special, but like really. Lodi, NJ, Wooju, Do-hyuk, Hyunwoong, Hero, Ryu, Sejin, Gyeongtae, Gun, and Do-yul. And Do-yul was already a former member at the time of this report. First gained attention beginning sometime around July 2017 after being active in Japan. That could explain why I heard nothing. The group suddenly disbanded in April 2019 when it was reported that 13 out of the 14 total members had their contracts terminated. At the moment, the identity of the group member who has allegedly had a sexual relationship with an older female agency official has not yet been revealed. At the time of this podcast recording, it still hasn't been revealed either. And quite honestly, it don't need to be. Going back to the article. According to reports, the group member was in his late 20s and the woman was in her late 30s, and other staff members eventually found out. I mean, unless she was married, like both of them are of legal age of consent. Anywho, going back. The group member and the female official have stated that they were in love. However, after news broke out, the families of the group members demanded that the group members' contract be terminated. Extremely interesting. The agency's head has responded to the news by saying that the news were just rumors that never happened and were highly exaggerated, while explaining that the contracts were terminated because each individual member wanted to walk different paths in their careers. That's a very good way of covering it up, but you lost everybody. Like, Baekhyun Entertainment, I'm sorry, BG, and I didn't say Baekhyun like EXO, Baekgom, Baekgom. You lost your entire entertainment roster. So if you're an entertainment company, were you not able to assist them in the directions they wanted to go if it was still entertainment paths? 3 of them had a YouTube channel together, and it's been at least 3 months since that's been updated. So I don't, it sounds interesting, like it was a little bit of a mismanagement going on, and there's just not enough information available to be able to find out what it really all came down to. So, listeners, there's sponsor ads and social media hashtags, but this show is truly supported by the efforts of my McGualas, the most amazing fan base a little raspy voice woman such as myself could ever have. Special shout out to my Patreon patrons, the student body and the scholars who keep my vision of becoming your favorite Korean music historian, exploring all the industry from A to Z, a real thing. If you're interested in supporting the growth of this podcast, and supporting my content, please visit patreon.com/multifacetedacg. And for as little as $1 a month, you can ensure that I'm able to access things overseas with a very strong VPN so that I can get the appropriate information and not some salacious translations or whatnot. I mean, I can't read Hangul after all. So this one project that the group released, very, VVV, released July 18th, 2017. It didn't even rank on the Korean charts. However, they had a single February 2018 called Don't Be Pretty, which ranked 41. And then Nachimban News, or News, because it has periods in between the letters, that came out October 26, 2018. And that ranked number 3. So they were getting a little bit of attention. But from us here on A3Day, K-pop fans on a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being essential listening and 1 not worth mentioning, the A3Day rating on this was a 3.5. This group sounded like they had massive potential. Just listening to the 2 songs that are on that on that CD, and then listening to Don't Be Pretty and News. Production quality of the actual music, just a reflection of it being from a small label. And I get that. They don't have, access to some of the more quality sounds. I feel ridiculous saying quality sounds because the music isn't bad, but it doesn't have what SM Production, Q Production, P Nation at this point, JYP, YG, Big Hit of that sort. It doesn't sound like that. Even Jellyfish, it just doesn't have the sound. But nonetheless, they had such a massive group, and everyone still had an opportunity to be able to release a line in the song. So there was some sort of distribution that worked. There were some attempts vocally that showed that they had a lot of capacity for, for very good performance. And it got cut short. It got cut very short, very quickly, before that potential could fully be realized. And that's unfortunate. I was interested. Apparently there were some other fans as well. And, it's just done. It's just over and done with. Like, we're not going to get anything else from this group. That kind of blows bubbles. It blows bubbles. Maybe they'll come back as soloists. Who knows? Perhaps with the different stage name. That's what I was going with. I'm like, past members, stage names. From what it looks like, if you go looking for like their K-pop member profiles and whatnot, it looks like some of them might have been trainees and or artists in other realms. But I don't know. To put that much energy behind a group to develop something that large and then just to let it go, that's extremely interesting to me, because there's far more to the story than us as front-end consumers will ever know. We won't know. And that's how the cookie crumbles for some groups, truthfully. And this is the first group that we've come across on here that has this kind of story. So, we've got a new group tomorrow, and I want to be absolutely certain that I've not skipped over any more numerically starting with the number 1 groups, because like there's, you can spell out a group, you can spell out a number, but I want to be certain that I'm not skipping over anyone again. So it looks to be that we're moving towards a new number. I'm excited, but I'm double checking it right now. This is why you hear a little bit apprehension while I'm navigating this, because I think we're making it over to, we're either going to 2001, but that's a duo. And I don't even know if they're still active. They debuted in 2013. I know a little bit about them, and I stress the word little bit. So we're either on our way to them, or we are going towards the twos again, and we got some subunits coming. And then we head into a group that I actually am more personally familiar with. So I don't know what tomorrow gonna be. I can't even tell you. I really can't. We skipped One Punch. I'm letting y'all know that because those were the young duo. They were with Brave Entertainment, and they had an anthem. Wow, they had an anthem. Wow, they had an album called The Anthem, and it was ultimate disbandment after One. Some of you might be familiar with the artist One. He signed to YG Entertainment, and that just turned into a freaking mess. So I don't know if we're gonna do One Punch tomorrow. I don't know by the time you all tune in for Friday's episode if we're gonna do them, because these numbers are just a little ridiculous. And there are other number one named groups that debuted this year, but they're rookies. I don't know if I should do something. I don't know if I should do something at the end of the year that I just acknowledge all the rookies that debuted for 2019, because it seems just ridiculous to completely ignore them. I'm just, the show is ebbing and flowing as I go. I'm having greater realizations of what should and should not be discussed and things of that sort. And especially given the fact that we've talked about Super M twice now. We did a reaction to their debut stage, their debut video, and then the concert, and they are a rookie group this year of established artists. So I don't know. I don't know. If you tune into this and you engage with me on Twitter or on Instagram or my Facebook page, then, let me know your thoughts concerning that maybe. And also whatever platform you're listening to this on, if you could be so kind as to give it a rank, if you can give it a vote, that helps with exposure. You guys have no idea how far the show is starting to reach. It's really exciting to see the numbers for each episode and things. So I appreciate all of your support. I genuinely do. And I will catch you in the next episode. Bye, everyone.